Hello everyone, myself Pooja Sharma. This is class 10th economics lesson 3 money and credit. In this video we will discuss about frequently asked question from this chapter. So let's move to our first question. What is meant by double coincidence of wants? Explain with an example. So, when there was the barter system, exchanging of goods was difficult. Demand of two persons for each other commodity should have raised at the same time. Otherwise, exchange was not possible. This is called double coincidence of wants. Money, by providing the crucial intermediate step, eliminate the need for double coincidence of want. So for example, it would be necessary for the farmer to look for cloth manufacturer who will buy his grain at the same time sell him cloth. Thus money has solved this problem because now people do not have to search for one who will be ready to exchange his goods. So we can see in the double coincidence of wants, they need the similar person who will accept their commodity in exchanging of his commodity. So now our next question is, how can money easily exchange it for goods and services? Explain with example. So a person hold money can easily exchange it for commodity or service that he or she might want. Everyone prefers to receive payments in money and then exchange the money for things that he or she wants. So when there was barter system, exchanging goods was very difficult. Demand of a two persons for each other commodity should have raised at the same time. Otherwise, exchanging was not possible. This is called double coincidence of wants. So money had solved this problem because now people do not have to search for one who will be ready to exchange his goods. This is because money acts a medium of exchange. That means people no need to think about or search about a person that who will accept his commodity. So now first person can exchange his commodity in money, and after money they can buy or sell anything without any problem. So now our next question is, what is a demand deposit? So a demand deposit is the deposit with the bank that people have the provision to withdraw the money as and when they require. So since the deposits in the bank account can be withdrawn on demand, these deposits are called demand deposits. Okay, I hope all the terms are clear. So now our next question is, what are the modern form of currency in India? Why is it accepted as a medium of exchange? So the modern form of money include currency and deposit with banks. It can be classified with coins, paper notes, credit money or deposit with banks. All are comes in the modern form of money. So modern currency is accepted as a medium of exchange because the currency is authorized by the government of the country. In India, the Reserve Bank of India issues currency notes on behalf of the central government. Indian law legacy the use of rupee as a medium of payment that can't be refused in settling transaction in India by anyone. So no individual in India can legally refuse a payment made in rupees. Now our fifth question is, what are the advantages of depositing money in the bank? So in this, so deposits with the banks are beneficial for individually because bank accept the deposits and also pay an amount and interest on the deposits. So in this way people's money is safe with the bank and it earns an amount and interest also, means for the principal money they will get interest for that also. So people also have the provision to withdraw the money as and when they require. So demand deposits offer check facility to the bank account holder. The facility of checks against demand deposits make it possible to directly settle payments without the use of cash. Bank use the major portion of the deposits to extend loan for various economic activities. This creates employment and economy to the people of the country or nation and contribute to the national development also. So our next sixth question is, how do banks mediate between those who have surplus money and those who need money? So bank take deposits from those who have surplus money. So banks keep only a small proportion of deposit as cash with themselves, like 15% only. So this is kept as provision to pay the depositors who might come to withdraw money from the bank any given day, which is given by bank. So since on any particular day only some of its depositors comes to withdraw cash, the bank is available to manage this with this cash. So bank use the major portion of the deposits to extend loan money. Bank charge a high interest rate on loans that they offer and deposits. The difference between these two interest rate is their main source of income of the bank. Now our next question is, explain terms of credit. So terms of credit are, first, interest rate which the borrower must pay to the lender along with repayment of the principal money. Second is collaterals. Collaterals is the security things such as land, titles, deposits with banks, stocks, etc., or any documentation required also. And next is mode of repayment. This means how the borrower would repay the lender loan amount. For example, on monthly, quarterly, half yearly or yearly basis. So they may vary depend on the nature of the lender and the borrower situation. Okay. Now our next question is, why are formal source of credit preferred over the informal source of credit? So the formal source of credit includes loan from bank and cooperatives. And we need to expand formal source of credit in India because of formal source of credit are less risky and they charge low rate of interest. The Reserve Bank of India supervises the functioning of formal source of loans. It monitors the bank in actual maintaining cash balance. RBI ensure that loans are given not only to the profit making businessmen, industries or traders, but also to the small farmers, cultivators, small scale industries, small borrowers or workers, etc. So compared to the formal lenders, most of the informal lender charges high interest rate. Thus the cost of the borrower becomes much higher, that leads to less income. Also the borrowers may become victim to debt trap. They are not able to pay the interest money, how they are able to pay the principal money also. So formal sector loans help reduce dependence on informal source of credit. Due to high interest rate of informal source of credit, people who might wish to start a new work by borrowing may not to do because of high cost of borrowing, they are not able. cheap and affordable credit by the formal sector is crucial for increasing business activities and the country's development. So we need to expand formal source of credit in our country. It is more important. Now our next question is, which institutions supervise the functioning of formal source of credit in India? How does it supervise them? So the Reserve Bank of India supervises the functioning of formal source of credit in India. It is the central bank of India. It supervises the functioning of banks. Like the RBI monitors the bank actually maintain the required cash balance out of the deposits they receive. Bank in India these days hold about 15% of their deposit of cash. RBI sees that the banks give loan not just to profit making business and traders but also to small farmers, cultivators, small scale industry, to small borrowers, workers also. So periodically bank have to submit information to the RBI and on how much they are lending to whom, at what interest rate, and what was the process also. So these things should be cleared by the formal source of credit to RBI. Okay, now our last topic is self-help group can help in solving the problem of credit in rural area. So that is in self-help group there is no provision of certain number of members or certain amount to deposit. Members are free to their number and amount to deposit in the group. So most of the important decisions regarding the saving and loan activities are taken by the group members. Who are the group members of the self-help group? There is that important decisions are taken by them only. So the group decide as regards the loan to be guaranteed, the purpose, amount, interest rate to be charged, and payment schedule, etc. all are decided by them only. Also it is the group which is responsible for the repayment of the loan also. In any case of the non repayment of loan by anyone, the member is non repayments of loan by anyone, the member is allowed up seriously by other member in the group. So the self-help groups help borrowers overcome the problem of lack of collateral and documentation requirement. Beside the regular meeting of the group provide a platform to discuss and act on a variety of social issues also, such as health problem, nutrition problems, domestic violence. So regarding this self-help group, not only they are discuss about the money matters but also some social issues also discussed in this group. So students, our important questions is completed. Thank you.